This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
And Peyton Manning takes a knee for the third straight time, and that should do it, folks. The final score of Super Bowl 41, the Colts 29, the Bears 17, and look at the pandemonium from the Indianapolis sideline down here in Miami. Colts spilling onto the field. Oh, there we go, the Gatorade bath for Coach Tony Dungy, and it's Mike Doss applying the Gatorade bath. Good to hear from Mike Doss tonight as the Colts are your Super Bowl 41 champions.
I'm not going to say a lot of people counting us out. I heard Dan Cole on KFAN say.
We're on live right now.
But I heard Dan Cole on KFAN say, I don't want to hear that, so I'm not going to say that. A lot of people counting us out.
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Let's play.
I think we have a very good mix right now. I mean, the morning show does well, comparatively speaking, especially given what it has to go against. Dubers and I have done well, knock on wood, for 4 years. Common and Hartman have done okay, and Barrero is, in my estimation, the primetime player on our station. And cultivating a couple of kids in Sludge and Lake, and, you know, we have the Vikings and maybe some things down the road, so I think we're strong right now.
Wow, what a great bare-chested man mind. What a great Duckies and Bunnies show mind. Wow. What a great having sex in public places mind. Wow. What a great how to pick up chicks at the Rube Chat party mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing what a sophisticated offensive game plan looks like. You talk about... Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
I'm a fraud. Yes.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Chad Abbott, who resides in one of the coroner's offices, is out for the next couple of days, which is a good thing for me because I even have less than I normally do. And he would be so annoyed if he was in that office right now and just heard me say that. I got nothing. Is there anything worse you can tell the listener? I ain't got nothing. But we always have a trick or two up our sleeve, so we'll find a way to get to, well, more importantly, to get to 1 o'clock for 534, then 1:15. Is it a 1:15 start? Yes, it's a 1:15. 1:15 start, Jake, because Mark Rosen will join us at 2. He'll actually be here before 2 o'clock because Mark Rosen and John Kriesler are in the semifinals of the Program Password Invitational Tournament They'll be taking on Lil B and Marnie. That'll get underway at 1:15, and then Rosen. So really, I only need to kill 2 segments. I didn't do a lot of show prep today, so let me ask you a question and see if you did. Did the Rockies lose last night?
I believe they did not. I believe they won. I thought I saw online they won.
No. We jinxed it. I've not been paying as close attention to Major League Baseball in general, and specifically Colorado Rockies baseball, until just the other day when I realized they were a terrible team. You talk about terrible teams in terrible cities with terrible fans and terrible stadiums and terrible everything else. They'd only won 9 games as of yesterday. Are they up to double digits now?
They won 6-4.
Okay.
They were down 4-1 after 2.
They were.
So they came back. They rallied.
Do you think the Marlins let off the gas, or do you think the Rockies tried harder? Because that's what we hear in sports all the time.
They outworked them.
That's my favorite. That could be the call I've been waiting. It's Abbott. He is listening. Why is he listening? Why can't he just take a day off and leave us alone?
I'm sure he would love to.
Well, then why doesn't he? He has the day off. You know what he's doing? He's in a boat right now in a lake with pouring rain trying to find brown
You've got to
fish.
be kidding me.
I tried to play today. I played the front 9, and there was no rain until like 9th hole. And then it started coming down like cats and dogs. And then my game, and I just kind of lost my swing again. It wasn't because of the weather, because I'm a good poor weather player. The worse the weather, the better I play, believe it or not. And I just said, gotta wait. I finally just said, what are you doing out here? I'm the only.
You would rather go watch Oprah.
I'm the only person on the golf course.
Yeah.
I think this morning. Now there may have been, look, how many golf courses are there in Minnesota? I think it's
hundreds.
I think it's hundreds, 427. I think at one time. How many people were playing any of those guys? I mean, it's just like when I'm just soaking wet. I did have a rain jacket, but I didn't put it on soon enough. So it's like, why bother now? When you're already soaked to the bone, what's the sense? And the game is played outdoors. I get that. But there was no score to post. Fight, there was no fight. So, but I did play, I said, well, I'll skip the par 3, 4. I was at Prestwick. I'll skip 15. I'll play 16 and 18. So I wanted to play a couple of par 5s so I could hit a variety of shots. Rip a drive out there, maybe hit a hybrid, hit an iron or 2 just to see if I could get. And I kind of got it back a little bit. It's like, but it's neither here nor there. So that was the extent of my show prep today. But you know what somebody told me? I got an email from somebody, and I tried to print it, but my cartridges are out on my printer. So, do you know how to put cartridges in a printer, like a home printer? You ever done? Do you have a home printer?
I don't do it, but I'm sure I could figure it out.
Yeah, I couldn't. I had Deuce have to do it for me. Well, again, if my life would have depended upon it, I probably would still be here. I would have figured it out, but he did. But by then it was too late I had to skedaddle down the road. But somebody said they still sell out Colorado Rocky games. It doesn't matter how bad they are. It's because there's basically nothing else to do in Denver. They say it's sort of like here in Minnesota where they have those areas where it's basically just a great big huge craft beer bar. He said most of the people have no idea there's a baseball game even going on.
They're high.
Yeah, they're high, right. So they have no idea that there's a baseball game going on. They don't care. It's just a place to go. It's like it's like going to a bar that has a cover charge, right?
Yeah.
You buy the dirt cheap tickets. I suppose in Colorado, what do they go? I know the Twins for the longest time, you could get in for $11. I don't know if that's still the case. It's probably been bumped up a little bit. But if you can get in for, I don't know what cover is at a bar. Do bars still do cover charges? Do we know? Do we have any indication? I don't trip the light fantastic and have a couple of cocktails anymore. Like the late great Dark Star would do down at that cowboy restaurant, Toby Keith's. But it used to be like a, $5, $10 cover just to get inside. Cover charge, they call it. And then, 2-drink minimum. And so I guess going to a baseball game is just like a little more expensive cover charge. They have the high top tables. You sit around. You just wait to hear the and you turn and go, what happened? Oh, yeah, base. Hey, home run for the home team. Good for us. Give me another craft beer. So they're printing money at these places. They've figured it out. The hardcore baseball fan is pretty much gone. The Patrick Royces of the world, they're baseball dinosaurs. The people that love the ball games, they love the Rosens and the the Suhans and the Lavells and the Dan Hayeses.
The Gleemans.
The Gleemans and the
John Bonuses.
And the John Bonuses. They love ball. They love all the nuances of it. They like getting down to the ballpark and watching batting practice and leaning up against the cage and talking split-fingered fastballs with the pitching coach. And I get it. If that's your thing, it's great. But I think as far as baseball fans that appreciate the art of baseball, the way I grew up watching, where you have a lot of 2-1 games and, sacrifice bunt here, suicide squeeze there. Rod Carew once stole home 7 times in one season. Isn't that an incredible number? 7 times in one season. He stole home. He was a criminal extraordinaire. He was a agent provocateur is what he was. And but those days are gone. Now it's just swing as hard as you can, relief pitchers, 7th, 8th, 9th inning setup guy. And I think the kids don't care that much. My boys never paid attention to baseball. Now yours play a little, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Leo's getting really into it. It's his favorite sport.
Seriously?
And excuse me, him and I are going to a Twins game in July because we're going to see the Nelly concert after.
Nelly.
But he has told me he wants me to buy a scorebook because he wants to learn how to do the scorebook at that game. So I'm looking forward to it.
I used to like to do. Can you do a scorebook? Do you know how to do it? Yeah, I can too. I used to do that when I was a kid. I loved that. I wouldn't get the yearbook; it was too expensive. We would get the program. It was $1 to get the program, and then it had where you could write down the lineups and keep score. And it had mostly advertisements, maybe a story or two, a feature about a player, but it wasn't like the yearbook where you had all the color photographs of all the players and their bios and the whole thing like that. But those were the days. I've recanted the tale. We convinced our 5th grade teacher, Mr. Kaiser, the guy who used to take us down to the boiler room and give us the paddle, 11 swats altogether for me, and I was in 4th place in class. Mitch, Rick, and Kevin were all above me. I was only 4th. I got swatted, in not 11 trips to the boiler room. Just we counted how many times you got hit. So I don't know. I was swatted 11 different swats. That could have been, my guess is that was about 6 or 7 trips. Because sometimes you did something bad enough like throw a spitball. That's worth 2 swats, right? So it all depended upon what your crime was. Don't do the crime. If you can't do the time, don't do it. And I didn't want to do the time, but, and you know why he brought us down to the boiler room? To muffle the cries. Ouch. So, but we convinced him to take us. He said, if all the girls want to do it, we'll do it. And they all voted yes. We went for, how about a field trip to the Twins game? How cool is that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's go down to the Minnesota Museum of Art. What kid wants to do that in 5th grade? Let's go to the Arboretum. Let's go to the Minnesota. The zoo was okay, right? But go to the Twins game? It was just so cool. So I'm glad Leo's into it because baseball was my favorite. So, I'm disappointed that but you know what? My guess is the Rockies will be back at it sometime real soon. Let's take a break. It's going to be a fast-paced, action-packed, controversial Vikings program. Did I see Alec Lewis in here?
Yeah, he was on with PA, yeah.
I asked him, you know what I said? He keeps it close to the vest. I said, give me some. He said, what? He goes, what do you mean? I go, give me a little nugget, and I won't say where I heard it from. He goes, can't do it. So he's tight-lipped. He's keeping his own scoops to himself. But I've got controversial Vikings news. Other side of the break, here on the Common Man program on The Fan.
Don't miss out on the classic musical Grease at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Experience the nostalgia of high school in the 50s with this musical based on the iconic film. Head over to our contest page for your chance to win a pair of tickets, including dinner for 2. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Peek at the Purple is brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. If you're selling your home or just want to know everything's safe, a whole house electrical safety inspection from Affordable Electric starts at just $300, and it's worth every red cent. Their licensed experts will inspect your wiring, outlets, panel, and more to catch issues before they become problems. Whether you're getting ready to list or just staying proactive, they got you covered. Family owned and operated, affordable-electric.com. That's affordable-electric.com. And remember, affordable electric is, oh boy, I'm starting to enjoy that, actually. It's shockingly affordable. Paul's intercepted interviews. Joe Nelson, Johnny on the spot, Tiny Joe, used to work here, used to be PA's producer. Do you remember when JG was to become the producer for the Paul Allen Project, and PA was looking for a name for the show, and he said, hey, how about PA and the Pup? He wanted JG to be the Pup because he was, kind of wet behind the ears, greenhorn, young kid. This is where I knew I liked JG. He said, I'd really rather not be the Pup. And he did not become the Pup. And then, of course, Tiny Joe became Tiny Joe. Why was he Tiny Joe?
He accepted that name.
And he accepted Tiny Joe. He works for SI.com. He works for Bring Me the News. Joe's he's carved out a real nice niche for himself. He must have been listening to the Paul Allen Project because earlier today on the project, Paul had ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who I think used to be Fish Wrap Factory East Side, right? Mm-hmm. And he had him on and talked about Aaron Rodgers. Where's the speculation? Rodgers is still not signed with anyone. And when Fowler was asked by PA where if Rodgers is waiting in case J.J. McCarthy suffers an injury, Fowler said he still believes Rodgers will end up with the Steelers. He says, quote, I can't say he's rooting for McCarthy to get hurt. It's just sort of a back of mind feeling of that maybe he's sort of waiting that out. It's hard with Aaron Rodgers because he's so unpredictable, and this is the first foray into free agency, so I can't even begin to get into his mind. Who can? He's got an ayahuasca-riddled mind, and it's hard to know what's going on in there, especially when you're on ayahuasca in a darkness retreat. That's really going off. That's really, that's like the voyage to the bottom of the sea is what that's like. He went on to say, look, he's a smart guy. He sees a team with a good offense, really good offensive coach, 9 dome games guaranteed. That's pretty attractive to him, I would assume. I still think you talk to people in Pittsburgh, they say they remain optimistic. They're going to wait a little longer longer for Aaron. They've been in contact with Rodgers. It still points to Pittsburgh, but until it happens, you at least wonder if he's waiting for something like that. And, I think as we all speculated early on was everybody's looking, no matter who you are, Tim, be like, I would think that you don't consider this is the best place for a producer to land. You know how we talked about rookie quarterbacks, best place to land would be Minnesota. You got a lot of offensive weapons. You got a defense that's real good. You got the quarterback whisper. Why wouldn't you? I wouldn't think Common Man program is a perfect place for a producer to land.
It's definitely not the Minnesota Vikings.
No, it certainly is.
I'd say it's more like the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and even that might be too much. Maybe more like the Colorado Rockies. It may be more like. But yeah, if you're Rodgers, you're thinking the same thing. This would be a comfy, cozy place to be. I had guaranteed. I thought for sure that's what was going. My theory, esoteric approach. I thought that when O'Connell and Rodgers talked earlier, that it was already a done deal, handshake agreement. Look, I can't sign you, and then you don't show up for OTAs and mini camps. That looks bad. Looks bad for me. Looks bad for you. Looks bad for the team. I mean, they're already making a big deal about JJ being there. I don't know if you saw the story there. They're making it seem like, wow, what a sacrifice. Can you believe that? Can you believe that Jets showed up for this? It's like, well, what else has he got to do? It's like he should be there. But anyway.
Getting paid, $40 million a year?
Yeah.
35, 40 million a year?
Well, show up. So I thought
it's the least you can do.
I thought for sure it was going to be one of those, all of a sudden they would go, we've come to an agreement with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to come here and coach the Vikings, be here for training camp, or maybe even miss training camp. No, I don't think he'd want to do that. You got to be at a training camp.
You'd be there for training camp.
So you'd be here for training camp, and they'd be here for game number 1. But, and that's another thing that I saw, I've mentioned.
Well, before you move on, I just want to say, there was a story yesterday from ProFootballTalk.com that said time is running out for Aaron Rodgers to get off-season reps with the Steelers. Their program reps up in only 10 days. And it's like, well, no, he ain't signing until those 10 days are over. That's the point. He's trying to, he doesn't want the reps with the Steelers.
He doesn't, and he probably really doesn't need them. And he kind of marches to the beat of his own drummer. He's got an ego. I mean, I think he's better because he's got an ego. I like him because he's got one.
I always love that one.
He's great at his job. So I think that's part of, it's Aaron basically. I don't need that. I really think I need to be at, what was it, minicamp? I've seen it all. I've been in the league. How many years has he been playing now? 20? I mean,
17-ish.
There isn't much.
18.
There isn't much he hasn't seen except a return trip to the big game. But that's a whole other story in itself. But what was I going to say after that? Well, anyway, so I thought he would come in and he would be the quarterback of the Vikings, but apparently he's all in. Now, here's what I saw. Eric Escala, the Scarf, legendary WCCO newsman who was retired from CCO. Now, and he continues to work for Almanac, the evening television show on Channel 2. And he provides me a lot of my show prep. And there were two stories that were interesting. There was one where, it's one of those... That's not the call I'm in, or it could be, because I don't know who it's coming from, when it's coming, what it's going to be about. Well, it could be. It's certainly not from my contact list. It's from the 952. Any radio stations in the 952 that might be willing to up the ante a little bit? If the phone rings, I'll talk. I'll answer it. So, all right, enough. Stop it. Thank you. So one of those, it's called purpleforce.com, just one of those fan base. And they're basically saying everything is falling into place for McCarthy. He's wonderful. The club loves him. He's exceeding expectations. And then you see another one from somebody else that basically says, and I don't know which one, this was a national guy. This was a guy who's probably trying to prop up sagging ratings, right? He writes, the Vikings aren't sold on McCarthy at all. And they're really not sure he's the guy. No! So you have, again, and it's, I know it's part and parcel. It comes with sports, your whole life to sports. You have two opinions from two different people that couldn't be more polar opposite. One is we're chiseling out his bust for Canton already. And then the other one is the Vikings really aren't sold on him and they would like to find another quarterback. So, I don't know what to believe. I think deep down they really don't know. Nobody does, right? I'm sure they're excited about the prospects. Look, they scouted him. They interviewed him. I can't remember if he went to the combine. He probably did. Yeah. They saw what he can do, what he can't do. I think the coach is pretty confident in what he can do. He's been called quarterback whisperer, and he doesn't make any. He doesn't go, oh, wait a minute. Let's not get carried away. Like when I call him the legendary Mark Rosen, he doesn't go, oh, wait a minute now. Legendary has gone a little bit too far. Mark Rosen feels he's legendary. Brian Oak even told me, don't call me legendary, but I do it now anyways, and I think he's just decided it's better just not to say anything and just let him do what he wants to do, because he's not going to stop saying that. So I do think it's maybe gone a little bit to the coach's head. He does know, and he is good with quarterbacks, right? So, but we won't know until they take snaps for real, Tennessee. But there's your peek at the purples, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Get one of those whole house electrical safety inspections from their licensed experts. They'll inspect your wiring, your outlets, panel, and more. We'll try to catch issues before they become problems. Affordable-electric.com. That's affordable-electric.com. They are shockingly affordable. He's starting to do the things he used to do that made him one of the biggest prospects in all of baseball. Let's talk about that next. Common Man program on the Fan.
Join Common from 3:30 to 5:30 today after a spirited round on the greens, followed by a silent auction and formal dinner benefiting rain and sarcoma at Edinburgh Golf Course, all to raise funds and awareness in the fight against sarcoma. Come for the golf, stay for the cause. Get the full details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
I'll be there. I talked with Gina, who's in charge of, she's my handler for the event today. And did you see the air quality report It basically said it was dangerous.
Did
you see that on the weather forecast?
I mean, I've seen the alerts, but I didn't hear dangerous.
I could have swore. Can you Google that and tell me if that's correct? The only reason I'm not doing it is because I have a story pulled up on my handheld computer, which doubles as a communication device, which is going to be used in this upcoming segment. But anyway, because of the air quality and all the rain, I'm not sure. The game's played outdoors, and I said I'm all in if we play, but I expect to hear something later. But it's for a great cause, raising money to fight cancer, and that's what we like to do here on the Common Man program. First of all, there are a number of different ways to get a hold of us. 1-800-320-5326. Don't bother. Our phone has been disconnected. We failed to pay the bill. Booth@KFAN.com, our email address. KFAN Talkbacks. Those are, you have the iHeartRadio app. Download it. Search for stations. Find the fan. Microphone icon, corner of the screen. Tap it. 30 seconds or less to deliver us a audio message. And then, of course, there is the ever-popular Brad, Sean Bryant, KFAN text line at 64686. And this one says, announced attendance at last night's Rockies game was 58-94. Not a sellout, me boy. Only problem is that game was being played in Miami. It was the Marlins were the home team, not the Rockies. So that's your difference. And I'm only going by what the emailer said. He'd been a long time Minnesotan, and he moved out to Colorado a number of years ago. I think he said he moved out there when he was 58, or else he's 58, or he moved out there when he's 58. But he says it's just one big Mardi Gras at Rockies ball games. Byron Buxton. Twins won, by the way, last night. Byron Buxton drove in 5 runs. Joe Ryan had, again, he's not Nolan Ryan, okay? So he's going to occasionally, he doesn't have many lemons, and this wasn't really even a lemon. I don't know if he was responsible for all 4 runs. I didn't take a deep look at the box score, but they won their first ever game at Suter Health Park. Suter Health Park. That's where the reason it's Suter Health Park, because Oakland doesn't have a home anymore. They're not at the Coliseum. So they're playing the Athletics 10-4. Byron Buxton tied a career high with 5 RBI. He's having his, I don't know if it's quietly. The biggest story is he hasn't missed any games due to injury that I'm aware of. Has he this year? And that's like headline news. That's like, big, bold print at the top of the sports page. Buxton plays again. It's over his career. It's been the one albatross hanging around his neck, is that he can't stay healthy. He misses more games than he plays. I think the most games he's ever played in a season was 140. Did that once. I don't think he's ever been over 100 since then, I don't believe. I don't think he's ever had a season over 100. If he has, it's maybe only been one. Now he's healthy and he's productive.
Now, he did miss time with a concussion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He did have
he's
concussion.
Played 44 of the 59 games this year.
And if it wasn't for concussion, because he missed how many for that? Probably missed
at least a week.
Yeah, at least a week. So he probably would have played. And, concussion's not one of those. It's those other injuries that were always the ones that I would not necessarily say they were mysterious, but it was always hammy here, pulled muscle there, whatever the case may be. And he's not solely carrying the team on his back, but this is what I guess everybody was predicting for him when he first was brought up to the big club. Byron Buxton was going to be, he's a 5-tool star. He can do it all. He can run, catch, throw, hit for power, hit for average. He can do it all. And he's starting to do the things that everybody expected him to do. And if he can continue, that's good news. Meanwhile, Correa, we talked a little bit about Correa yesterday. He got tossed from a game and didn't know why. And then after you read the story, you find out why. He basically was, without saying it, he was basically telling the umpire you're incompetent. And so the umpire didn't appreciate that and tossed him from the game. He's run hot and cold. Matter of fact, if you'll remember, he started the season, he was dreadful. When he finally, didn't he go like a week without a hit to start the season? When he finally got a hit, they jokingly threw in the ball and said, here, you want to keep this as a souvenir, your first hit of the season. And then, of course, there's Royce Lewis. And Royce Lewis he's the only player in Twins history, to have more than one 0 for 30 or more. But he has two stretches of being 0 for 30, two of them. And 2 games ago, I think he batted ninth and was pinch hit for by Brooks Lee, I believe. And then I don't think he played yesterday. I don't even think he was in the lineup. So, and yet the Twins continue to win ball games without contributions from Royce Lewis. It's that old, if Lewis, you'll like this, Ted, but you can use this if you want. If Lewis does start to swing the bat like he's capable of, like we've seen, it's almost like a trade. Because he's basically offered nothing. He missed how much of the season? He started on the disabled list, right? He started the season.
He's only played 21 games.
Yeah, and he's only played 21 games. So, meanwhile, by the way, that Tigers club, you see they had the Patsies. They had that AA team, and AA might be, they might be more like a single A team, the Chicago White Sox. They pounded the White Sox 13-1 yesterday. And so when you go to the standings, it doesn't matter how many games we win. We're 7 games out of first place.
Yeah.
7 games out of first. Guardians have quietly surpassed us by a half game. They're something like 32-26. Twins are something like 32-27. And the Tigers are 40-21. And if I'm not mistaken, 40-21 is still the best record in baseball. And
correct.
The Mets have won 38 games. I think that's the closest. So the Tigers are for real, Tennessee. And, again, it's still early. We haven't even reached the halfway point of the season. We have, how many games have the Twins played now? I can't do math very well.
59.
59 games. So, we still got 100 plus. But as you look at it now, you're thinking, boy, we might be playing for a wild card spot rather than.
Well, they're in the wild card spot right now.
But what I mean is they're not. They might not be able to catch them. They might not be able to catch them because the Tigers are just playing. So, now again, it's early and they could go into a slump and, that June swoon, as we like to call it, or, injuries could happen as well. But that's a quality club. And, the Royals, are we still that team? Look at this. This is, the Royals are 31-29, which would be good for second in the American League East. Be good for, I guess it'd be
third in the AL West.
Third in the AL West because, the Mariners and the Astros have won 32 games. National League would be a little bit different, but despite that fact, they're 8.5 games out of first place. And it seems as though that the Tigers, with the pace they're putting together, we are sort of playing for wild card spots, but it could change. But it looks like it's going to be, we've talked about it, it's certainly, even if the Tigers take off, the other 3 teams are all going to be fighting for wild card spots because they're all talented. And the only thing is you got to play each other. It's similar to Baldelli talked about it, and so did Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, we read quotes from Campbell yesterday, the Kitties head coach, about division's tough. We like it that way. Not only do you have a tough regular season schedule, we looked at the Kitties schedule. Somebody else did a story. Do the Vikings now have the best offensive line in the NFC North?
How about that?
They lost Zeitler now. He's out. Did he retire? Now we got another guy that's called it a career. Or else he's just out for season-ending injury and the season hasn't even started yet. And we heard about Ragnow yesterday. Ragnow said, I'm done. I can't play. I tried to pretend I felt really good, but I don't. I'm not feeling any better. I think that
Zeitler's with Tennessee.
Oh, he left.
Yeah.
So he left. So they've lost two of their best offensive linemen, one to free agency and the other to retirement. And so that team's going to have some trouble. But that division is as strong as it gets, much like the AL Central is. And Baldelli, I liked what he said. You and I talked about this. I liked what he said about, I like tight ball games. I like games where pitching's at a premium. I'm paraphrasing a bit, where, he likes that brand of ball, that style of baseball. And I think he and I are on the same page there. So,
the pitching staff, Pablo Lopez, another good season. I think Joe Ryan, even though he was just kind of meh last night,
right.
But overall, he stepped up. You've seen Paddock be pretty good in the rotation. So the rotation's pretty solid. Their bullpen's one of the best in baseball. And it basically comes down to what we were saying at the beginning of the year, right? It's always going to kind of land on those big three of Correa, Buxton, and Royce Lewis. Can they stay healthy? All of them have had injuries to a certain extent, but Byron Buxton, when healthy, has been great. Carlos Correa has been bad for most of the year, but I think he's playing a little bit better here the last couple weeks. And I don't even know who this version of Royce Lewis is, but if he can somehow recapture his 2023 form, now you can start thinking really big with this team.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, the ceiling and the potential is high if he can get going.
Well, and then remember when Glenn had seller's remorse and decided he didn't want to sell the team? He claims he was trying to keep the team on a technicality. He said that Lori and Alex Rodriguez did not meet, what do they call it, a tranche? I think that was the name. They used some legal term of some sort. They were supposed to pay a certain amount on this date, a certain amount on that date, and another amount on that day, and he claims they missed it. Lori and A-Rod said, no, we didn't. They went to arbitration, and the arbitration team, I think 2-1, voted in favor of Rodriguez and Lori, and they now own the team. But, Taylor said he was doing it because of his loyalty towards his limiteds, the people that own 1% or 2% of the club. It's just like basically being a Green Bay Packer owner, right? You own a little tiny bit of look at me, I got my certificate here. I'm a part owner of the Green Bay Packers. No, you've just been bamboozled. You're being used. And Glenn said, because the team when he sold it was worth 1.5, and now apparently somehow its value climbed 2.5 billion. And so he thought, well, it's the money's not that, it's more for my limiteds. Those are the people that would be getting a bigger chunk of change. I think it was just because he said, this team's pretty good. I kind of want to get a title here.
I want to win a ship.
I want to win a ship. I don't want to turn it over now. This Connolly guy's got this team. We've built this thing together. We're standing strong forever. But now he doesn't own the team. The Polats, same thing. They announced, we're selling the team. I was blamed for it by Suhan and Lavelle. They say, because in my relentless pursuit of trying to get the Polats to spend more money when it's the age of Aquarius, they finally caved in. And because of me, that's why they're selling the team. But will they change their mind? With the way the season's going now, maybe, there are enough people out there that are cynical enough that think they were never really intending to sell the team at all. They know that the fan base has been brainwashed by the common man to think that it's all because the Polats won't spend money. If they weren't so cheap, we would have numerous World Series championship trophies, not just the two we have from 87 and 91, but we would have more in that trophy case. And maybe what they wanted to do was it's sort of like a diversion, right? To get people to continue to come to the ballpark. Because remember, when they finally snapped the 0-for-18 postseason losing streak and made strides on the field, they announced they were cutting the payroll, which was just a devastatingly stupid move, right? So then in an effort to try to, what can we do now? That was a bad strategy. Let's tell them we're exploring the intent to sell the team. And people will go, well, hey, may as well go because pretty soon it's not going to be their team. Oh, well, they don't have anybody. Now, there was a couple of stories as of late that say they have entertained suitors for the club and that there have been conversations and that they are making progress in that regard. You'll also remember it was Joe Pohlad, who is the nephew of Jim Pohlad. Jim Pohlad ran the day-to-day operations for the club after Carl passed away. And then Jim finally turned the reins over to Joe. Joe's early 40s. Joe's been working with the franchise forever. And Joe said, well, even after we sell the team, I'd still like to run it.
You've got to be kidding me.
Okay. I don't know if
you're
any...
breaking up.
Yeah,
I don't hear what you're...
I don't know if any ownership group would go along with that. I said it at the time, and I'll say it again. There are times... It happened, I think, at Mystic Lake. Once they built the golf course, they said, we have never run a golf course before, so why don't we just let the people that ran, Lone Pine, let them run the golf course? So it's not unheard of to say, we don't know anything about running a Major League Baseball team. Maybe we'll keep Joe in there for a while. He knows the day-to-day operations. I don't think that's a possibility. I don't think that's if the deal's contingent on Joe Pohlad remaining as, the president, chief operator, the guy making the day-to-day decisions, the team will never be sold. No one would agree to that, would they?
No, nobody would.
You kind of want to hire your own people. You might want to run it yourself. That's why you bought it. This is fun. I'm a big league baseball owner. I'm going to make this. Matter of fact, I might even submit the lineup card to Baldelli. I might want to be that guy. I want to be a real hands-on owner. I want to be. I might even want to sit in the dugout sometimes and wear a uniform. It's kind of fun. So I don't know if the team will be sold or not, but. I think Suhan wrote this piece earlier, and I tend to agree with it, that the better the team is, I think the greater your chances are getting big dollars for it, right? I can't believe, if you were going to buy a Major League team, and the Rockies were for sale and the Twins were for sale. Now you can't take just the way they're constructed as we speak. You might think Denver's a better place to operate.
Well, it sounds like they sell out regardless of how the team's doing. So maybe that is a good team to buy.
So you look at those and you say some. Well, let's use the Athletics then. Maybe the Athletics who would want to buy that club. The Miami Marlins aren't getting any people. Nobody shows. Apparently, there was only 5,400 there last night. 5,400 plus. No one wants to go to that game. You would probably rather buy a team that's doing pretty well, right? I mean, that makes it easier for you. You don't have to start from scratch and go, wow, we got to blow the whole thing up. It's terrible team, terrible city, terrible fans, terrible stadium. So Suhan's theory, and I tend to espouse it as well, if you get to the trade deadline, which is, I think, July 31st, is July have 31 days or 30? I think it's got
31.
So, and I think that is the trade deadline, I believe. Let's just pretend it is. So if you're approaching July 31st and you believe, you look up at the heavens and you go, well, it looks like the moon is in the 7th house. And as far as I can tell, Galileo claims that Jupiter is aligned with Mars. This is the age of Aquarius. Let's go get another pitcher and let's go get a middle of the order DH type. And let's see if we can add to the trophy case. So you would think, especially if you're going to unload the team when the season's over, who cares how much you spent? It's the old Billy Bauer thing, the late Wild Bill Bauer, when he was supplementing his comedy earnings, selling cars at Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth. He looked at an 80-year-old guy and said, look, let's face it, this is the last car you're ever going to buy. You may as well get it loaded. And the guy did.
Genius.
Yeah, and so this is the last team you're ever going to own. You may as well go for it. So I would hope they do, because they do seem to. I know I'm supposed to be. It's not Wednesday though. It's not a wet blanket Wednesday yet. But I'm supposed to be that. The curmudgeon that always. I just like to hold people. But I hold teams, players, I hold everybody to the same standards as I hold myself to, and that's excellence at every turn and giving it your all day in, day out, and giving it a lot of effort. And I'm supposed to, pan the Twins, but even without a large payroll, they've right now got a team that seems to be they're starting to get healthy. Is anybody? Larnick's back now, right? Is anybody out right now? Everybody seems to be playing.
I think they're relatively healthy.
Yeah. So you got that, and you got some. It's sort of like what PA says about the Fan. Morning show's doing pretty good, particularly with what it's got to go up against. Dubers and I have done great for 4 years, knock on wood. Common and Herman have done okay, and Barrero's the primetime player, so you could say the same thing about the Twins right now. And so I like it. I might watch a game one of these days. Don't get carried away. I'm not going to go to one, but I might watch one of these days soon. We've got 5:34 top of the hour, and then the moment that a lot of people have been waiting for. A lot of people have been waiting for the semifinals, the first semifinals of the Program Password Invitational Tournament. Lil B and Marnie, who had a dominant first-round victory, will take on, I think you might want to be, they're sort of the easy to root for, John Creasel and
it's two legends.
Mark Rosen. Yeah, it's two legends.
Two heroes, side by side right there.
Two heroes side by side, and I think people are starting, I think that bandwagon's starting to get full, is what I'm saying. So that's coming up at 1:15. We'll take a break, 10 to be, 5:34. What you got?
Will there be more madness in March?
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.